So, the Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster is probably the easiest version of Final Fantasy I've ever played. And I've played the original, the PlayStation 1, and the Game Boy Advance. I did not play the one that was on the Vita, although I did want to because it basically took a lot of the cool things that were in the Advance one and expanded it with better graphics and everything. Um, but after playing the Pixel Remaster, I've got a couple of points I gotta make. One, it's too easy. It is way too easy. Sure, the encounter rate is absolutely insane. You can't even walk like 10 feet in the game without getting into a combat. But the battles are super fast. I mean, that's the one thing I'll give them, that the battles move very, very fast. Um, but I don't know if they like rebalanced it to increase the money and the experience, but it felt like I had no problem blasting through gaining levels. And once I got to a certain point, money was worthless. You know, it was a it was fun. I did a no mage run, so they were just warriors, and maybe that's why it was like steamrolling. But the problem was once you like the only area I had a problem with was Marsh Cave, which was a very poisonous area, and that's because I ran out of antidotes and I had to go back to town. But by the time I went back to town, I had so much money that I could buy all the antidotes I needed to go explore the dungeon again. And then when I got through there, from that point on, it was going into a dungeon one time and beating it. I think it took me like 8 hours to beat Final Fantasy. And I remember when I played the PlayStation 1 version that it took probably at least 16 to 20 hours just because it took a little bit longer. Battles took a little bit longer. The arrangement for the music is fine, just fine. And playing as just the warriors and the ninja and the monk, um, they still had it so the monk was basically the strongest character in the game. Yeah, he's a little bit of a glass cannon, but he can easily one shot most enemies, has an incredibly high critical rate, which by the time I got to the final dungeon, it was pretty much they were getting criticals every attack. It was more likely to have a critical hit than not. And I beat the game at like level 52. And the only boss that gave me problems was Chaos at the very end, which, okay, end boss. Makes sense. It needs to be a little bit harder. But, the only reason it was hard was because I couldn't heal very good. Because I had healing potions and no actual magic to do healing. And the knights are terrible at using, holy magic. And they could only go to level 3, but Cura only cures like 100 to 150 health, which you're doing the same amount as a heal as a high potion. So overall, I think it's okay, but I kind of miss the fact that they didn't keep the bonus dungeons in. It's basically they took the original and just simply updated the very first one. Um, the bonus dungeons in Advance, which I know they carried over into the Vita version, but the Game Boy Advance bonus dungeons were a lot of fun, and you got to fight bosses from the different games. And removing that is a little bit of a shame because that was a lot of fun. Um, but I'll probably go through and try the different ones. But overall, the first one, it's not the best version that got put out there. Not at all. I would say go with Game Boy Advance or the Vita version way, way, way before you play this one. Although I would say that if you turn down like if I play it again and do the mage run where I'm only going to be playing with red mage, white mage, and black mages, I'm probably going to turn down the money and the experience points so that way it actually feels like it's difficult and that I have to try. Whereas, I steamrolled it through so fast with this playthrough. But anyways, have a good one.